Ladies and gentlemen, Bharat Fintech companies are outpacing the global market by building innovative business models and keeping technology at the center. They have received almost 13 billion US dollar in funding since 2019. The growth is driven by the tripartite effort of the regulatory bodies, financial institutions, and fintechs themselves. As the industry assimilates and adopts to the emerging business models, a larger discussion on how the leaders are visualizing the evolution and the growth of Bharat Fintech ecosystem is much more needed. With this intent, the Digital Fifth has organized the Bharat Fintech Summit, which will run across 2 days, that is today and tomorrow, that is 7th February and 8th February, to share the perspective ground zero in this space. The event focuses on the different fintech sectors, business, and technology practices, as well as regulations and policies that are enabling Bharat to scale on the global stage. These 2 days will highly witness the thought-provoking panel discussions, insightful fireside chats, solution demos, expo booths of the latest offerings, and much more. Before we proceed, let's thank our sponsors, beginning with our presenting sponsor, that is Perfios. Our diamond sponsor, Karnataka Bank, Penn Technologies Private Limited. Our lanyard sponsor, Transbank, Transaction Banking Platform. Our lunch sponsor, Falcon. Our gold sponsors, Airtel Payment Banks, Backbase, Bureau, Credit Session, Northern Arc Capital, Sign Z, Spice Route Legal, Synoric, Vianza, and Zaggle. Our silver sponsors, Advantage Club Technologies INC, Access Mutual Fund, Bharat Pay, Signet, Finbox, Finiza, Hyperface, Kinara Capital. Our exhibitors, Analytics Fox Softwares, Crime Scan, Dista, Dhan, Isobs Inc., Factum, Nelito Systems Private Limited, Prime Soft Solutions INC, Screenza, Sign-Desk, Timble Glance, and Resolute Web 3.0 Company. Ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with the digitization theme of the Bharat Fintech Summit, we are moving into the speakers session dedicated to this topic. The topic is navigating business and technology traits of the product manager. Well, our first speaker is Mr. Deepak Sai, senior consultant from the Digital Fifth. He will be speaking and focusing on leveraging the digital maturity model for advancing digital transformation. So the topic of this is navigating business and technology traits of the product. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Deepak Sai.
Hi everyone, good morning. And before I actually start the session, my sincere apologies for all the mix-up at the registration today. And thank you for actually being very patient with us and letting us go through while there is a lot of hassle, we are trying to do our best. And thank you for attending the session today. And as we are discussing, maybe before I go to the session, I'll quickly introduce myself. I'm Deepak Sai. I've been a part of Digital Fifth team for over 3.5 years now. Been working on several digital transformation projects and open banking as well as embedded finance projects. And gradually we started working on several digital products as well. While we understand, digital is the buzzword that has been existing in the market for over last 15 to 20 odd years. And be it banks, be it NBFCs, be it fintechs, everyone has been focusing on this, trying to make technology a cookie cutter, where each and every part of the financial institutional business, whatever is there, it can be modularized and can be utilized across the platforms. So with this platformization of technology and several services, the digital product and the digital maturity has become one significant aspect organizations are sincerely focusing on. And before we deep dive into how these digital services have been transforming into the digital products, we'll just quickly observe what is actually happening in the landscape. So currently we have, as per the research from Broadcom, So what we could see is somewhere still 74% of organizations are still exploring digital transformations, and they sincerely believe that there is at least much more work to be done, at least 50% more work to be done. And most of the focus of the digitization or the digital transformation has been restricted, or maybe focusing on the mass products where it could be your, talking in terms of the banking side, be it your savings bank account, be it your FDs, maybe your credit cards, and several other things which have been very popular across the urbanized market, and very massive product which have been utilized across the spectrum. And with that, digitization already in focus, organizations are now trying to look at how we can increase the customer value and how they can actually improve the product quality and reduce the drop-offs. Because, all of us today must be utilizing all the UPI apps, right? Be it PhonePe, be it Paytm, be it Bharat Pay, or be it Google Pay. And as soon as we see that the server is not working on one particular side, we quickly jump onto the other rather than waiting in the queue. So, the options are available across. The customer knows the same product is available elsewhere and the same service is always there. So the service quality has been the emphasis that needs to be utilized upon. And then the focus is on the, improving the efficiency of the processes. So, as today, I would like to quote the example right from today. We've all printed the passes, but it is not being efficiently distributed, right? So we're all seeing the same chaos. So now when we see most of the, products being digitized and we expect that efficiency to be there, let's say I have completed booking my FD or maybe my mutual funds right off as of today. I don't expect my receipt to be handed over to me the next day or maybe 2 days later. I want it then and there, just like a payment confirmation that we see through the UPI, right? So that's the expectation that has been being built across the customer base. And to achieve these, what organizations are trying to do is they are trying to change the whole product philosophy as such, and how our customers perceive these particular products is completely being taken care. So that's where, while the initial customer centricity was to just provide a particular service, now it has moved on to say, how my customer wants this particular service, and let's say the same savings bank account, rather than having 3 different types, what is the exact customer looking for as of this moment when he is trying to open a savings bank account, and knowing that he already has a savings bank account or she has a savings bank account elsewhere, what are their expectations here is what every organization or financial institution is trying to search for, right? And from there, how do I maximize things from the customer? So that is where organizations are focusing on specialized product management. And what is actually happening in the specialized product management is, as we were discussing earlier, most of the initial focus was on the banking, bank accounts or your credit card system. And while the other focus where we still see a lot of physical activity being done across your home loans or several other products, where we still see, several places where a person is actually holding the credit card and asking, sir, do you want this credit card, right? So that's where to take this reach of this particular product to the customer has been the explicit focus of the financial institutions. And in the digital space, where the customer was happy during the COVID period as well, sitting at home and still perceiving or getting the same products and not getting the same service, that was a painful point which organizations are now striving to close, right? So that is something that is happening. And to ensure that particular experience, what you are providing physically, to actually give the same experience through the omni-channel experience, that is, be it physical, be it digital, or be it phygital. Let's say some service is not working, or let's say I'm actually at a branch to actually get some work done, and I want some particular process to be there. So let's say there is an assisted journey, which is a phygital journey. So that expectation is also expected to be there. It's, the customer does not expect, sir, this is digital, why don't you just open the app and fill it out? If I'm there, if I'm in front of the bank personnel, I expect the personnel to actually carry out that particular service for me, rather than me actually telling that it is available, it is a kind of a self-service, why don't you go through that, right? So that's something. And with that, organizations are continuously committing themselves towards the digital transformation, not just in terms of building a particular product, but optimizing the service delivery to the customer in an omni-channel environment. And that is where our digital product management focus has been changing. This is where earlier organizations were focusing on, that is domain, customer, and just the experience part. Whereas with the digital product management coming in, this is where most of the business aspects are also being considered. Because earlier, the business team was the one who's actually deciding how much workforce do I put, where do I put my marketing, where do I put my several other things, right? But with the digital coming into the picture, it is always the phone or your social media platform. There are not many touch points in the sense which are vivid across, like, I mean, how many of us still go on to the television to watch a show or something? We know that it is going to be available on YouTube. We know that it is going to be available on Amazon Prime. So we even stopped going to theater unless or until it's a very interesting movie, right? So that's how, when the things are changing, bringing the customer to the service is actually, very restricted, and the medium is pretty straightforwardly available, that it is your mobile or the digital platform. So how do you execute your particular product and optimize your particular product to ensure the customer sticks to that particular product or service is become the primary focus. And the technology as such, as we started this session with, has been, something that organizations have recognized that they need to transform for the last 15 odd years, and they've continuously striving towards it. So, sorry. Yeah. So, just from when we say, every business has a particular maturity, right? So, right from those four states of a business maturity, now products are moving towards strategizing your, and then developing your particular product, then not just developing, then launching, analyzing the growth in terms on, when we speak of growth, it is a day-on-day growth. So all of us actually look at how many people actually maybe clicked on a touch point, how many of them actually explored the particular product after clicking on the touch point. From there on, did they actually explore till the end of the page? How much time are they spending on my particular page before they leave? And from there on, are they actually, let's say it's a lead model where they have to just register and then move on to the next stage. Are they actually doing that particular registration over there? How many text fields am I using? How many fields can I auto-populate? So rather than, in case, in the earlier experience where there used to be a sheet of 15, 20, or maybe a screen of 15, 20 text fields that a customer has to fill, it used to be a regular practice. But customers now expect, if I give my mobile number, immediately my PAN card number should be retrieved. And with my PAN card number retrieved, you should always have my details in the back end where I say, yes, this is me, and I move on, I complete the registration. And exactly my product or service that I am perceiving for should be the immediate focus on that particular screen has been the philosophy that is changing. If not, if let's say the product is actually hidden somewhere and I have to spend maybe 10 more seconds looking for that particular product itself, we see a lot of drop-offs coming in from the customer. They move that from that particular page, or they may just quit from your mobile application, right? So with that philosophy actually changing in terms of your, how do we optimize? Saying in the same screen, I quickly show what my particular product is, but at the same time, I also cross-sell or upsell. So this is where your digital product management in terms of your utilizing your particular data, how do we actually improve your particular product? How do we validate our research in terms of what my customer wants, and how do I put it into action? And from there on, if at all I'm giving a touch point and I'm promising something from the touch point, the customer is clicking on it, how do I ensure that delivery in terms of what I'm promising from the touch point is available? So that focus has been changing, and the customer expectations are also something like, if at all I've been promised a particular 3-step onboarding, it has to be restricted to 3-step, and they expect that it should be seamless in next 2 to 3 minutes, right? So that is where even launching your particular products, post-launch also, whenever we have to manage these particular products, it is always going to be like how many customers, as we were saying, daily funnel management. Sorry. Daily funnel management is something that we do. And how do we optimize these channels? So that is where our embedded finance models are also running, right? So earlier, I created a digital product. It exists in my application. The customer is downloading this particular application to get this particular service. He knows that this is a product that I offer. But whereas now with the embedded finance coming into the picture and the same seamless delivery and the same seamless funnel management and everything is what I need to do, I have to give this particular product elsewhere. And in the morning session, as Shank was actually mentioning, Money Control has got into FDs, and several other players are doing it. So whereas the bank now sees in terms saying there is a customer who's booking an FD, but for Money Control, there is a customer who's actually coming to check for the news. And from there, I'm showing an ad where I'm saying in next 2 to 3 seconds, you can actually click, maybe check out our offers on the FD page, and then complete an FD in next 2 to 3 minutes. So that particular promise, when we are saying my value delivery as a financial institution is different from what my expectation of the customer is in a landing platform, right? So how do I catch the eye of the customer to actually utilize this particular product or explore this product? Won't be just restricted to my partner who's actually showing the ad. It has to come as a synergy between the financial institutions or your embedded finance players or the, your fintech players who are trying to perceive these particular products. So that's where the entire focus on, from product strategy, design, development, and growth has moved on to how do I channelize these customers who are existing available, how do I make them utilize these particular services and ensuring they are also getting value out of it. So rather than me walking into a bank, trying to open a bank account and then perceive these services, if at all we see today bank account opening is not perceived as a big task, right? Now, let's transform this particular example into a wealth management, where I know certain platforms are there, certain bucketing is done, and we have a trade-off between a direct mutual funds and an indirect mutual funds to choose from. But at the same time, are they as seamless as opening a bank FD on another third-party platform? No, right? So I still have to go through a certain lot of analysis, and it is not as plain as looking at a term sheet and saying, "Acha, this XYZ bank is actually giving me 10%, why don't I book an FD over there?" So as we go into length and breadth of the financial services, this particular digital product management is going to transform into multiple leaves. So that is where the entirety of the focus is not just going to be on the digital transformation or kind of modernizing your product stack, but also onto the other side where your customer management and the funnel management and how do we actually do the value delivery is going to be the main focus. Yeah, so as organizations perceive, can a normal product manager not do these tasks? Why do I exactly need a digital product manager to do? So, in the next slide, So this is where most of your core product managers will be focusing on, where they have certain understanding of the services that are being offered and the line of business, what has been actually promised and what are their targets to achieve. How do they help churn these particular changes in the products to suit the customers? Whereas there are several other things in case of a financial institution people are concentrating upon. So that is how do you achieve synergies between your digital transformation team, that is your technology team, and the product team. Along with these, you're also having to ensure that you digitize these services across the digital channels to ensure value delivery through an omni-channel chain, right? So that is also again on the focus. And at the same time, as we spoke about our growing embedded finance ecosystem and open banking ecosystem, we also want partner integration to happen. And other than for these, each of our financial institutions are also, concentrating on incubating and working with the startups to bring in innovation, right? That is also happening in parallel. So that is where your digital product manager coming into the focus, they'll have to start working across and achieving synergies across all these things. So that is where it will become very crucial for the existence of a digital product manager as such as compared to a regular product manager. So what actually differentiates a product manager from a digital product manager? It is not just always about your core value delivery of a particular product. So, as we saw earlier, it is a complete mix of things or the knowledge that a digital product manager needs to have, right? So that is where the product manager on the overall needs to understand the user experience as such, technology as such. Is my current technology stack going to support my initiatives, if at all I'm going to pick some? So without that particular understanding, let's say I completely change my journey. And to achieve that particular journey, my technology team says, we can only do it in 6 months. And we need to completely transform some XYZ stack. So that is not an investment that I'm looking forward for, right? So, I'll take an example of in money where my experience changes day on day. And I've been trying to utilize their particular services to understand how they work upon. So every day there is a small change, every day. And maybe in a few days, when once the data comes into the picture and with all the DPA guidelines and everything, while they have their restrictions and everything coming in, once the organizations understand how much wealth of data that I have and how much can I utilize it in the right way, what actually is going to happen is, every minute there is an experience change that is going to happen. Interestingly, we are also going to work with a startup who are going to do a demo tomorrow, and we'll also see how, without actually now deploying my particular product or maybe uploading it back into my Play stores and everything, I can change the experience of customer then and there, just like that, utilizing the data that I have in the backend. So that's where the focus of the digital product manager, in terms of not only the journey as such that we've been trying to understand, what is the business target that I need to achieve? What is the strategic, roadmap that my organization wants to achieve? Let's say my organization wants to achieve, twofold growth in both revenue as well as then also completely innovate on one or two products which are my core initiatives. And my product manager is not aligned towards it, and he's entirely working or putting the efforts towards something else. It's not going to work in Synergies, right? It can't be a top-down fashion where a boss sits in the room and says, no, you are only going to work on this. I need it exactly this way. So those Synergies, trying to understand this is where my target is, how do I start innovating in this particular product to get there, is what is going to be the key. And in terms of the skill set, when we see the UX UI designing has also been something that has come in, and we are also having to work on animated wireframes that can be utilized. And also, as we speak about the digital product, and the market research itself has completely changed. Earlier, most of the research used to be like, do we get into this particular product? What is the market potential? And how do I actually go to the market? Now it has actually come to a level where, in the sense, if at all I'm launching this particular product, what are all the features that I do? How long is it going to take? And how does this, how is this feature actually going to be perceived? And to achieve this particular feature to some, let's say, level 5, I'm just quantifying it, level 5 efficiency that I expect. Should I actually do a big bang model, or should I use an agile model? It's not always the earlier focus where, अच्छा मैं करूँगा तो सिर्फ ऐसे ही करूँगा, ये सर्विस ऐसे ही जाएगा. So that's where my basic service is something that I do on that particular moment in my first churn, maybe in the first sprint of 21 days. From there on, I try to build on to the level 2 and then move on to the level 5 gradually, ensuring that the value delivery that I've started with the focus on is what I'm actually delivering. So, moving to the other spaces where this is where the responsibilities as such have evolved. On the product side, we have driving the, innovation is something that is very key. Understanding the business and technology to go hand in hand is going to be the key. And the user-centric approach is going to be the key for a digital product manager going ahead. And on the technology side, trying to understand the right journey, how do I actually bring it? And one thing that we haven't spoken about is configuring the right events at every point of the journey, right? So without these events, we will not be able to track whatever is happening and how the customer is actually dropping off, or where at the point of the page is the customer dropping off. So that's also something that the tech team is also focusing on. And the strategic tech integration, when we are speaking about the partners, at which extent do I do the integration? Do I only ensure it is a separate journey where my team then takes up the lead and then calls up where the value delivery relies with the integrating partner, or the partner who's actually supporting with the stack? So those synergies are something where we can achieve through the strategic technology integration. And in terms of the business, we are most focus is on building the customer lifecycle. And they understood, like earlier, the touch point is not limited. So there are n number of, with the availability of application, let's say I'm checking my banking application once in 2 to 3 days. So it's almost like I'm visiting a bank once in 2 to 3 days, right? Whereas in most of the earlier cases, maybe once or twice we used to visit the bank in a month, or maybe visit an ATM, where the touch points were limited in terms of cross-selling. Yeah, so this is as we were focusing upon achieving the success path. So it is not always upon just going to the market with your particular product, but also having a perfect social media and digital presence. And please don't take me wrong, when I say social media, it's not always LinkedIn or WhatsApp or any other places. Social media can now be looked at any other place where the customer is actually trying to spend more than 2 to 3 minutes. That is, it could be your embedded applications as well. It could be, I mean, while I largely classify these in terms of social media, while we perceive Google Pay or Phone Pay or any other platform as a different model, but once you get into each of these spaces now, you can see several other ads picking up, several other initiatives picking up. You can play games upon. So each and every application is transforming in their own way with their core value of services just being there, and they themselves trying to become a social media platform which is more interactive, and they makes the customer spend more time on it. So in that particular perspective, I was just saying each and every application that we have on our mobile today can be perceived as a social media, where we can ensure the embedded products can be integrated upon and can be utilized. That's where explicit focus that is coming through the digital product integration will be the key. And that's my session for today. In case anyone has any few questions, ready to take up a few. Thank you.